Good morning. I'm Billy Hippler with GovCon Leaders Circle. I'm joined with Priya today. How are you, Priya?
Hi, Billy. Good. How are you?
I'm good. And you're with Bcore. Do you want to give us a short intro?
Sure. So I'm Priya Raheja Dalwadi. I'm CFO at Bcore. Excited to be here. Thank you again. So my career started at Lockheed Martin in their financial leadership development program. It's a rotational program where you get your MBA part-time, full-time work. I did my MBA at GW. And then from there, I spent over a decade. Wow, that ages me. At E3, then Avantis, and did a short stint at Kinetic. Um, and I went from a task lead on client side to program finance to building the finance infrastructure into VP level, FP&A, leading pricing, and ultimately leading the finance infrastructure through multiple acquisitions. At Avantis, we had 8 acquisitions in a span of a few short years. Avantis was my first exposure to being PE backed by Newspring, and I joined B Corp about a year and a half ago as its first CFO to build the finance function for Newspring Federal. So that's where I am now. Um, Little history, my dad's a CPA. He had his own practice. Growing up, I was in that world. I saw what it looked like, loving the numbers. I would help him, reconcile checks, and, take pride in the work, to build something for your own. So that pedigree kind of shaped me. My husband's also a CPA. So some say we speak the same language at home, which either sounds like a dream or a nightmare, depending on who you're asking. But, I've been pretty fortunate with my exposure and my career, and being able to do what I do with the teams, with the people I work with. So short
Yeah,
history on the career
that's
there.
a great overview. Thank you. And you are the CFO at Bcore.
Correct. CFO at Bcore.
Very
Yes.
good. Well, we'll come back and dive into your background more, go line by line. But I do want to touch on Bcore briefly. Can you give us a history of Bcore? Where did it come from? You mentioned Chad earlier. Tell us a little bit about the leadership team. Go ahead.
Sure. So Chad Kim is our CEO. He takes a lot of pride in the mission that we support. We built this platform. He built this platform with Newspring through 4 strategic acquisitions, supporting various agencies and missions, each with different systems, different cultures. We brought them together under one infrastructure. Most recently, we added Fuel Consulting as of January of 26, where, as I mentioned, PE backed by Newspring Federal, currently tracking towards under 100 mil in revenue. We do our capabilities basically, they range from advanced analytics, mission integration, AI ML solutions, data engineering, data ops, cloud and infrastructure operations, targeting and analysis solutions. Honestly, our teams that support these missions, they're probably the coolest and innovative people I've met. Everyone has such a passion for what they do in supporting the mission. And that was Chad's ethos in building the business was I want to solve the hard problems, not
Yeah.
just, say it. I want to
Yeah, yeah.
actually be in the mission and do the work.
That's great. It's great, even in the for-profit world, being able to find, um, like true you think of mission-based, a lot of times outside of the GovCon space, because I know we use it a lot in the GovCon space, but we think of mission-based typically as a nonprofit.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
when it really is mission-based in the for-profit, it's like double fulfilling,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Exactly. Actually, the profit, I mean, it even as a CFO, it kind of comes second because you're just have such an investment into the mission and what
Yeah.
they're doing and what our people are supporting and seeing them be excited about it and show up to work every day and then talk about it, whether it's at a TED talk we do or we call it tech talk, or whatever it is. Even though some of the language is over my head, it's just, always nice to try to learn something new.
Well, and it's nice too, I'm sure we could quote Steve Jobs or whoever, when you put the end customer, end user first, and you're truly trying to solve the problem at a
Absolutely.
high value level, The profit just kinda comes by consequence.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and what's really neat, and unique, I think, that we have is the culture, even with the acquisitions, we are one, and, even with our most recent acquisition, everyone is, "Oh, I work B Corp," and I was, "Oh, you're also at B Corp, you've been there since '23, I just joined."
yeah,
It's just very,
integrated.
cool to see, how everyone is, interacting with their unique work fields.
Cohesive unit.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and so you mentioned B Corp, 100,000,000. How many employees?
We have a little less than 200 employees. So yeah, and we're on a pretty active growth trajectory, organic, through contract vehicles, full and open, continued acquisition as always. And we're not trying to be everything to everyone. I think,
Yeah.
we're going deep where we have those differentiated technical capabilities essentially.
You're trying to be Walmart or McDonald's?
Yeah, not this time.
Um, okay, when you started a couple years ago, headcount and revenue, just to give us an idea of growth.
Sure. So we were probably started 40, 50 million, and then, acquisitions uh brought on one new work, um, prime work also.
Yeah.
And headcount wise, probably 70-ish.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's
we've
pretty
seen
solid growth.
solid growth. We also, especially in this market and, with how last year was. So it's been a ride, but we've been able to grow, which is the big, mark there.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. Well, I do want to touch on the industry and bringing B Corp into that. What is B Corp seeing? What are you seeing? What is the leadership team talking about in this particular market?
Yeah.
Last year was a crazy year for a lot of folks. Change in administration, Doge, government shutdown. Go ahead. I'll let you take it from there.
I mean, the headwinds are real. You nailed it, right? The Doge noise, the procurement freezes, this continuing resolution. There's that real uncertainty in the market. You have to adapt, you have to be agile. I'd say that we're primarily serving IC where programs are mission funded. So that makes a little bit of a difference there for us. In terms of like, let's talk about labor and services. Services, what I'm seeing is that we're getting squeezed from two directions, right? You have pricing pressure from the primes pushing work to the subs while we need to hold our margins too, and a more competitive talent market at the end of the day. So how B Corp is responding is that we're trying to move up the value chain by doing technical differentiation, cleared staff, and mission specific capability. That's where we're getting our talent from, protecting the margins, and doing the value add work that we want to do.
Yeah,
And you can't go anywhere without talking about AI right now, right?
we
And
have to. Yeah.
yeah. So, what I hear and see is, the IC is investing, but there's implementation challenges come with data classification, cleared infrastructure, model trust, all of that. We at Bcore ourselves are adapting it also, and the finance and accounting team have adopted AI, which has made us faster, more robust, gives us time to instead of doing the spreadsheet build essentially, really taking time to understand and do the strategic analysis, and give it to our stakeholders, faster than what we were, which is very meaningful and helpful. Um, the other trend I'll say, is OTAs,
Yeah.
that we're seeing, right? It's how you move fast on capability,
Hmm.
and I think for companies, that means having the technical and contracting capability to operate in that type of environment. Those are kind of, I would say the four main trends that we're seeing and we're navigating through. It's, an unprecedented market right now. So different than last year already. So
Yeah, yeah, this year is different than last year. Some similarities, still very different from 2024 and prior.
exactly. Exactly.
Unpacking some of the things you mentioned there, and I can totally relate to the first thing, getting squeezed on both sides.
Yeah.
Right, you have to climb up the value add to then kinda get back to that
Mhm.
healthy
Mhm.
spot you wanna be at. So to reiterate what you were saying for our viewers, You got the candidates, the talent pool pushing more. They want more, they want more. And then you got the end customer client. In my case, it's usually commercial world. In your case, it's the end government
Yeah.
asking for lower and lower on the cost. And labor services last year, like horror story. If
Yeah.
you were just LPTA, butts and seats, like that's not a good spot to be. There's still a lot of that this year. It hasn't gone away completely. Obviously, we need people for a variety of things, but yeah, that's the right move. Going up in terms of high value, like you're talking about, really technical, can't do without type of resources.
Yeah,
Um,
and bringing the solution instead of just asking, "What
yeah,
what problem are you seeing?" It's, "I see you have this problem, and
yeah,
this is how Bcore and the team will help solve it, and
yeah,
what makes us different." I think
sure.
that's another big thing as part of the value chain and value add that we were just talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Capture growth BD professionals right now. Some are doing really well. A lot are like, I've been doing this particular process for 10, 20 years.
Mhm.
This
It's not
market is
working.
it's not working.
Yeah.
And it's it seems like a pretty straightforward process that you just shared there, right? Starting
Mhm,
with the problem and how do I solve it, not just asking, hey, can I get some spots?
mhm.
What are you guys doing to differentiate with a particular customer? Can you share maybe an example of problem solving?
Sure. So it's what I was saying earlier. It's making our presence felt with the client and our customer. And when I say that, I mean, all right, bring the talent in, solve the problems, and then it's really having that invested conversation of I see you're having this issue. I have this talent here, and we're doing it on this contract. I can't really say names, so that's why I'm
Sure, sure.
saying
Yeah, I
it.
gotcha.
Um, and this is how we're doing it on this contract. I can replicate this here and solve it.
You
So
have the
it is
exact same problem that we just
exactly.
solved for you. Easy
And
enough.
it's end to end. I think that's also another differentiator is the solutioning is end to end.
Yeah.
So it is that cohesiveness that we're bringing to the customer and with proven capabilities, proven tactics on other contracts that
Contracts.
we
Yeah.
have. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it's bringing different scope areas from different contracts into our mix in order to grow organically. We have a very robust growth team established really this year where our CGO has taken a uh, very detailed approach into the pipeline, being very intentional on what we're bidding and why it matters. That's the big thing is we're not just bidding to bid. It's why it matters and how it, brings the whole ecosystem together essentially.
Not to harp on it too much, but it really is counter yeah, counterintuitive. You would think naturally, okay, if I go after more work, that's how I am going to win more
Mhm.
work.
Mhm.
You diversify. If you take the basic like investment strategy of a mutual fund or an ETF or, some variety in our work and a lot of other industries, you stay very narrow and do very well at what you know and don't start to deviate. You get known as that that awesome team in the same agency or similar, and it helps you with winning that additional work.
Absolutely, and I really believe it's in being intentional in what you're doing,
Yeah,
um, and then, not just to do it, but it's what it's gonna bring to the table, and that has really helped us evolve,
yeah, yeah,
in our growth and our bidding strategy um, and then what comes with it.
yeah. Well, I want to bring it back to you, make sure we have enough time, and then we've got a couple other pieces here. So you're originally from the area, or where did you grow up?
I am actually originally from the area,
Yeah.
yeah,
Where did you
yeah.
go to high school?
I went to Flint Hill School,
Okay. Yeah.
in Oakton. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
was actually there, one of the few that was there since, elementary school, and my graduating class was only 67, and we
Wow.
just had our, I'm gonna really age myself, our 25-year high school reunion. I wasn't able to make it, but, I was able to connect with a few folks, so that's been
Yeah.
nice.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
great. And then from there, where'd you go to college? I know, but for
Yeah.
our viewers.
Sure. So after, Flint Hill, I actually went to GW for my undergrad as well.
Yep.
And I did, finance and international business there. Fun fact, I started off thinking I was gonna do pre-med,
Oh,
and I
wow. Pretty
mhm.
big difference.
Yeah, I did organic chemistry, and I was like, "What am I doing with my life? This isn't I am not happy." I grew up, looking at my dad's practice. So sorry. So,
Accounting, and you were like, "Hey, I don't wanna do that."
yeah, I was like yeah. So that was what my first semester, I was like, "I'm not doing this," and
Yeah.
so did the shift, got into the business school there, and then from there, I had a really great ride in finance and international business, amazing professors, um, did this one course, forensic accounting, where one of our professors was actually, on the Enron case, so he used to tell us a lot of fun stories about, what he dealt with and what he
Um,
found, so that was great, and then,
and then you did a
out of
master's.
college, went into Lockheed and did my MBA at GW because we
Right.
were working full time, um, and MBA part time. Was able to do a quick study abroad for 2 weeks, in Chile and Argentina, part of the MBA program, so that was good, and then, was at Lockheed for, almost 10 years, and then I went to, almost 7 years, sorry, and then I wanted a small business feel, and then I went to E3 Federal,
And then Avantis and
and then
Connecticut. Yeah.
Avantis, and then yep,
And
exactly,
and so
yeah.
you've really worked at only 3 companies.
Only 3 companies, which is
Crazy.
yeah,
Well,
absolutely, and, I think about my career track, and I'm like, "Wow," but then I think about the experience that has come with that. It's not that
mhm.
I've been doing the same thing
Sure,
every
yeah.
time. And I think what really set that base was the rotational program at Lockheed. My first rotation was pricing.
Mm.
So it was the terminology, everything was all new, but that set of such a foundation. Then I was able to do program finance from there. And then I was able to do strategic program finance, which combined a lot of the pricing and FP&A skills learned. And then from there, I went into an actual role at Lockheed.
There are so many different ways to get to where you are today. There's not a cookie cutter, "Hey, I gotta go to public accounting, get a CPA,
Absolutely.
move to controller, and then" or, "I gotta go work for an investment bank." Like, there's not one way.
Yeah.
You've been to the events. Everybody has a different background.
Hmm.
If you have someone with the exact same background, 2 people, that's rare.
Very rare. Exactly.
Yeah, but 3 companies in this whole time, and a lot of people would have probably 6 or 7. I'd
Hmm.
say these days, you don't see too many people working at one company for 10 years.
Yeah, it's very rare. Sometimes I'm like, I'm still here, but I'm still having fun. I'm still
Yeah,
learning. I'm still growing.
that's good.
And,
Yeah,
especially with the Avantis run, 8 acquisitions. I mean, I really grew there. Every acquisition, you learn something different. So,
yeah, yeah.
how to scale it, how to, doing the PE exposure, think back to the last couple, last years, and I think I wanted to build the expertise, and learn from my mentors, and wanted to chase capability instead of titles or companies or roles.
Yeah, that added skill set, that added, additional tool in your tool belt, adding all of those and looking at it instead of just getting that bump, that arbitrary bump that may or may
Yeah,
not change your role.
and
Um,
and I
Go
think
ahead.
having leaders that trust me, like, go build this dashboard, go do this, and you're just sitting there like, okay, I can do this, and
Yeah,
putting your own kind of style and spin on it, right? And the other thing is, I think what I've learned, especially with finance and accounting, is that we're one of the few departments, areas that touches every other
yeah,
business area.
yep,
Contracts, recruiting, HR, program delivery, you name it, So it's
yeah.
one of those, that I think coming into my career, I was like, oh, it's just going to be finance and accounting, but real quickly learned that's actually not the case within F&A.
You have to for some positions, especially early in your career, it may not be the case, but eventually, in order to excel in accounting and finance, you have to get a true diagnostic of the business that you're in
Absolutely.
constantly too.
Absolutely.
I do. I'll boost. I'll give a little shout out to my team, our back office, but
Mhm.
it is great. It's a relief when they actually understand what I'm talking about with a
Oh, yes.
particular search or a particular project, and they're like, "Well, I know what Billy's trying to do here. Let me see." It helps. Not always the case when it's just yeah, I'm not gonna say who, but maybe, someone that's just processing invoices or processing payroll, and
Exactly.
there's not much more to it.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, my team is my core. Like,
Yeah,
I'm very fortunate. I've had very good teams, and I mean, I'm like, vent. If you need to vent to me, about anyone, go ahead. Let's do it. If you need
yeah,
me to roll up my sleeves, let's do it. If you need help, raise your hand. If we want to talk about change in process, let's do it together. That's one of my big um, work ethic, whatever you want to call it, is advocating for my team, how I
yeah,
show up for them, and how they show up for me then in return. It's a true partnership.
yeah, 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 and I know some of your team, and they are
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah, they are.
Um, we'd be here all day, going
If
around
we
the
could
room.
talk, yeah.
But, yeah, no, that's great. Alright, well, so wrapping up on sort of that segment there, what are some of the things that, in the last few years, stepping into the CFO role
Hmm.
that you specifically have pinpointed and gone, "I really learned this. I thought I knew this, or I didn't know this at all." You have a few examples?
Yeah, I think actually, I know. The hardest shift for me was learning to lead with interpretation before data. Okay, and what that means is can't go into a board meeting and I can't talk to my sponsor. This is what happened. Okay. I need to go in with what it means and what I'm gonna do about it, what Bcore is doing about it, and that was a big learning lesson for me was like, it's not just reporting on what happened and then that's it. It is really bringing in the understanding and being concise, being able, and understanding that not everyone is in the day to day like I am. So talking to my sponsor and my board members and relying on them for their expertise and their experience and being able to communicate about an issue or advice or whatever it is with data
Mhm.
clearly and with the so what about it, let me call it that
Sure.
way, right? The what the operating leverage could be, what the enterprise value is. I think that was the biggest learning lesson is that it's bringing that whole story together and being able to be not reactive, be predictive, and use them as the sounding board that they want to be used for as well.
I think a lot of executives would like accounting and finance to be a magic 8 ball,
Yeah.
um, without saying that, of course, but the
Yeah.
closest you can get to that, they'll take it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it's okay to be wrong and say, "I don't know, and I'll get back to you,"
Yeah.
I learned that too, that it's not a weakness, right? It's just making you actually, I think it makes you stronger to be able to be raw and real and bring that
Yeah.
human element? And I think that's a reason why I have the trust as well, is that that is a great mentor and CEO where he's, put me, in front of the fire and been like, "You can do this," and
Yeah.
that's the best way to learn at the end of the day, is presenting the problem and so what about it and what you need and why it matters, and then resolving it together.
You gain a lot of goodwill, trust, just being genuine and not
Yeah,
always trying to be, "Yeah, I know that. I know that
exactly.
too. Yeah."
Mm, yeah,
That's just
yeah,
being real. Um,
exactly.
excellent.
Sounds easy, right?
Yeah. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Some tough situations. Alright, we have a few more minutes here.
Mhm.
What motivates you? What makes you tick? Let's hear that. That's a fun question.
That is a fun question. Okay, so what motivates me? Couple things, right? It is actually the mission that we're supporting, and however I can contribute to it makes me very excited, right? That I am, in my little F&A world, I'm contributing to the mission that way. but also it's the people I work with. Our leadership team, I talked about the people on the ground that are doing the real work, my team itself. We have fun together, we spend many hours of the day together, whether it's on Zoom or in person or whatnot, but it, it's it's fun to be solving problems together. I think I've shifted my mindset. Oh my God, we have another problem. It's how are we going to solve this? And it's make it more exciting,
Yeah,
So I think that motivates me now more than anything is not dreading it, is let's get in front of it, and then how that ripples through is very, very exciting.
yeah.
And then I have two young kids, an 8-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl, and my at dinner we'll be talking, and my son would ask a lot of questions. Like, I don't understand what you do, so it's fun trying to explain, this world of, um, GovCon, finance, accounting, PE backed, and the industry we're in to to him, so,
Uh,
that's fun.
it's hard enough to explain accounting. I
Yeah,
think, we've gotten my little ones are about the same age as yours.
yeah.
We're broaching what a credit card is and, like, how
Mhm,
that works, and that's maybe, like,
mhm.
the finance piece, but you add the layer of, like, government contracting.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, I can only imagine the wheels spinning.
yeah. He
Um,
does know Uninet, so that's the one thing he hears on conference calls, so he'll be like, "How's Uninet going?"
does he think it's a person or a thing?
I don't know, maybe a robot.
Okay, yep. No, that's great. Alright, so family, yeah, that's huge motivator, and your husband and your family,
Yeah, yeah,
extended
just,
family, yeah.
my, my sister is a pediatrician, so we have very different conversations when we talk about how your day was. So
Yeah.
she speaks a different language and I speak a different language.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so funny going back to what you were talking about earlier, I actually wanted to be an engineer,
Oh,
and I
really?
ended
Okay.
up in accounting, and you
Yeah,
were trying to do you said, pre-med.
a pre-med, yeah, and
Those classes, I was doing, it wasn't differential equations, something
uh-huh.
crazy difficult, and I was like, "I'm out."
Yeah,
Uh,
that's how I was like, "I'm out after I saw some of that stuff."
but you know what? I'll talk to my wife or any friends about accounting, and I'm removed from it at this point, and they're like,
Mhm.
"You're such a nerd." It's
I
everybody's
hear
got
that a lot too.
their own skills, their own interests, and,
Yeah.
yeah.
I hear that a lot too. It's some of my friends, when we go out, to eat for dinner or whatever, they're like, "You handle the bill. You handle it." They're like, "You love this. This is our worst nightmare."
Geez, it's just basic algebra, but okay. Um, alright, so a lot of our viewers are interested in going to that next level. They
Mhm,
might currently be a controller, they might be an accounting manager, they might be early in their career, they might be a CFO, and they're like,
mm,
"Man, I'm really not doing well."
mhm.
Could you speak to them a little bit? Tips for success, recommendations, how to
Yep.
get to where you are today?
Find organizations that will let you build, right? That not just maintain, like whether even if you're later in your career, choose the role basically that gives you the scope over the one that gives you the better title. That was kind of what I was alluding to earlier. That was my part of my career trajectory was getting my scope instead of the title was very important, and then title just comes naturally as with the experience, um, and it's, getting comfortable with being wrong faster, right? Like, I think, um, the CFOs or even anyone that succeeds, it's someone who updates their view when the data changes and you move on, so and not having that ego there is big, and I alluded to this earlier, it's building that cross fluency early, right? Understanding how the entire ecosystem of the operations work and how you can play a part in it, whether the program delivery, executive leaderships, learning how to, tailor what you're talking about to the audience you're talking to is very important to have that messaging come across. And then I'm said this earlier, big believer, right? Successful because of the teams that support you day in and day out, right? And that has really helped me get great players on my team. They work hard. they care, and I think that just shows up that to me is how I show up every single day.
There's a book by the former SAP CEO,
Mhm.
and it's impossible to win or not worth it without a good team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I believe in.
and such a difference maker, even if we're not necessarily talking about excelling, just, like, overall fulfillment, comfort,
Exactly.
like, liking work. Kinda going
Exactly.
back, not to talk too much about college, but you have that professor that is awesome and the material is so boring, you're
Yes.
actually more inclined, I think, to take that over the professor who's horrible and the topic is
The
interesting.
topic is exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, yep,
same
and
with
yeah,
work.
exactly, it's what makes you show up, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Priya, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Any other closing thoughts? Anything you wanna leave folks with?
No, thank you, Billy, this was great, I don't know how you do everything you do on a daily basis, but appreciate you taking time to do this and, build this network that you've created.
A lot of caffeine and 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah, well
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Thank you for listening to GovCon Leader Circle Insight Interviews today. Thank you, Priya.
thanks, Billy, have a good day.